Thank you. Wow, so beautiful. Always. You don't want me to. Good morning, beloveds. Welcome. I see some new faces here today and some returning faces. Welcome home. We've been waiting for you. Yeah. What a great day it is to be alive. Yes? Yes. Amen. So today is a very special day, and so it's Father's Day, which is kind of like a Hallmark holiday, and it's also Juneteenth. Now, and coming up this week, we've got summer solstice. So how is this minister going to tie in Juneteenth, Father's Day, summer solstice, and embracing change? That is a good question. Lean in as I attempt to do so. So this month so far, we have looked at embracing change. Hi, Reverend Diane. And the first week, I talked about embracing change, and as we embrace the changes in our lives that we experience, we can feel the embrace of Spirit, that divine, invisible embrace as we lean in. And that means as we release our resistance to it, we release our denial of things that are changing, but rather embrace the changes. And as we do that, Spirit loves us, and we can feel that love filling us up and know that we can sort of lean into the beautiful arms of the beloved during those times. And that's where we find that comfort, right? And in that first week, we also made a vow from the highest order of creation to live from the highest order of creation, which was huge. And we all spoke and affirmed that I am living from the source of all creation, that I live from the awareness that all of my needs are met. I live from the awareness that everything is working for my good, even that situation. I live from the awareness that life is for me, that nothing is against me. I live from the awareness that I am divinely maintained and sustained by a presence that is never in absence. That was a powerful one, right? And so we agreed to stop trying to figure things out, to stop trying to manipulate things, to stop trying to make things happen. We agreed to instead begin to think through listening through our meditation practice. So we kicked up our meditation practice a notch. Now, it's a challenge because so often we're going through life and we just have something off the top of our head, right? But to move the way that we move through the world, to make that subtle shift into coming back into ourselves, coming back to our center, to that spiritual presence, that higher love within us, and then responding from that space, thinking through listening through our meditation. So it was a beautiful, beautiful week. We broke our agreements with mediocrity, with lack and limitation. We said no more. We named it and claimed it, and it was done. And so our lives are transformed, and we as a community have transformed. So we all became aware of how we're moving into this norming stage. We had forming, you got a new minister, hey, everything's cool, I know her from before, or I've seen her around, and maybe she's gonna be all right, and all of that, and we got together, and it was a happy, joyful love fest, and then there are stages. You go from forming to storming, and then it's suddenly like, why are you saying that? Why are you talking so much? Why are your sermons so long? Why? It's real stuff, you guys. Whatever it is, right? And it wasn't just towards me, but we do that with each other. Oh, why are you doing it this way? Or why, and just all of this back and forth where there's the storming, and we're getting to know each other, and we're like stumbling, right? Because you begin to stumble. And we agreed that when someone stumbles, we'll reach out a hand and lift them up, right? It's a big difference than being judgmental or complaining or gossiping. And so we moved into the norming stage together and made 3 community agreements: no gossip, no drama, and no complaining. And I shared that story about the drama and the difference between when that movie Top Gun Maverick came out. Has anybody seen that movie? Right? You haven't seen it yet? So I talked about this the first week of June, and the feeling that I had when I first discovered it was only showing in movie theaters. How dare they? Drama, right? I'm so done with movies. I'm over it. I'm out. Never watching a movie again. Nope, that's it. And then I said, well, the spiritually enlightened, awakened me would say, I notice that I'm slightly inconvenienced by this. I would much prefer them to stream it directly on the release date. However, in my slight inconvenience, I realize I have a choice. I will either wait for it to come out on streaming or go to the movie theater. Well, I went to see it that night, and it was awesome. It was so awesome. And so anyway, that was week 1. And then week 2 was about changing your state, embracing your stage, and engaging. And so changing your state is whatever is happening in your life. If you're faced with the gossip and the complaining or the drama or whatever, you're changing your state. You need to recalibrate with Source. You've got to remember that there's something greater going on here than the thoughts about what's going on, right? There's a presence. This presence is love. And the band, Jimmy and the band sang, bring me a higher love. And that's what it was about. Bring me a higher love. Gossip. Bring me a higher love. I'm doing a great work. I can't come down. Drama. Bring me a higher love, right? And so that was all about changing our state and moving into that higher love, and then embracing that next stage of our evolution, whatever that is. And so often we can talk about the things we don't want or talk about what we don't want to experience in our lives, and so that locks us into that particular experience. We'll keep getting what we don't want, in other words. So embrace your stage is start talking about what you do want. What do you want to experience? And speak about that. What does that look like? Because by doing so, we begin to create that. The energy that we speak begins to go into that which we want to create. And then it's amazing. It always works. And the next piece was engage. So recalibrate with Source, embrace the next stage of your evolution, and engage in your spiritual community. And that was a call for us to get into service. We are a community rebuilding, and we are rebuilding from the changes from the pandemic, and we are rebuilding from the changes of having a new minister. Things are different. There's a lot of changes, and so we are rebuilding. We are in a mode of doing a great work, right? We are doing a great work, all of us. And we can't come down. We can't afford to come down for the gossip or the drama or whatever low-level energies are pulling for our attention. It could be different for each of us, right? And so that was our call. If that comes to us, we say to it, I'm doing a great work and I can't come down. And each one of us is essential. Like, you matter. You are this community. This community is not me, Reverend Elizabeth. This community is you, us, right? Yes. And so here we are. So as a community rebuilding, we've got to engage, and I use that analogy of building a house, and somebody's got to pick up the hammer. We can't just have Robin doing all the building, for instance, or one person, We had a call to action, and so I'm grateful there were a few of you who stepped up and immediately said, hey, I can do some setup, but we still have some areas in the community that we could use assistance with, And so specifically today after the service, we could use some volunteers to help pack up and assist Robin with closing everything down. Can I see 3 volunteers who would be happy to help? Oh, you've got 6 volunteers, Robin. Did you see them? Please raise your hands again. Yeah, right? Brian got them. We got them on Zoom too. So you can just see Robin towards the end of the service, and even if you're just doing one thing like wrapping up that cable or, picking up that speaker and putting it in the case or however it all goes, right? Every hand helps a little bit, and that's what we really need to get together and be all right. So we also have regular volunteer service opportunities or weekly, right, for setup, Sunday morning setup. And so you get here a little bit early and you can help out with the setup. We also have somebody had resigned from the Hearts and Hand team. And so if you want to be on the Hearts and Hand team, you can find out, Hearts and Hands, Hearts and Hand. You can find out more information from Linda. Linda, raise your hand after the service. Yes. And so we also have this July 17th event that we're doing, a celebration of oneness that we're going to need help with setting up and taking down and all of that stuff. So you can talk to me or Linda or Robin, Gina and Jim and Reverend Diane supporting that July 17th event after the service. So at the end of week 2, it was really, the bottom line was that we're all about love. Whatever the problem, love is the answer. So we were called to love each other. We've got to love each other. We are one, and it's time for us to come together and feel that love and feel and experience that love of community and togetherness that we know that we are. And it is beautiful. Thank you for the silent applause. I appreciate that. But today is an important day. Today is Juneteenth. Now, we have a little bit of a history lesson here because this is really something that we need to make sure that we have information about and that we can join in the celebration of the beauty of this day. So Juneteenth is short for June 19th, and it marks the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state and ensure that all enslaved people be freed. And so you all remember the Emancipation Proclamation, which was issued by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863. That was 2 years before it actually occurred, right? And so that Emancipation Proclamation established that all enslaved people in Confederate states in rebellion against the Union shall be thenceforward and forever free. But it did not instantly free the enslaved people. Enslaved people were not even sure what freedom for them would look like, because that's all that they ever knew. So most enslaved people remained right where they were, but now they were going to be paid for doing work that before they were just required to do this work just to live, and live under horrible conditions. Now they were free to leave. They had liberty. And so the Emancipation Proclamation only applied to places under Confederate control, however, and not to the slaveholding border states or rebel areas that were already under the Union control, like Texas. So slavery continued in Texas. Even though the proclamation was there, it continued. And actually, people even moved to Texas to continue with slavery because they thought it was a safe place to do so. There were no Union troops there to enforce the order. And so eventually, a full 2.5 years later, after the signing of the proclamation, General Order Number 3 was read. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. That's what happened on June 19th, 1865. So this is a very important day. And that was 157 years ago. Wow. That's a long time ago, right? So the 13th Amendment was then passed and ratified on December 6th of 1865. The 13th Amendment states neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So the year following 1865, freed people in Texas began to organize the first of what became the annual celebration of Jubilee Day on June 19th. And in the ensuing decades, Juneteenth commemorations featured music and barbecues, prayer services, and all kinds of other activities as Black people migrated from Texas to other parts of the country. The Juneteenth tradition spread. So today is a holiday celebrating the emancipation of the enslaved in the United States. Amen. Let's celebrate that. That's huge. So in 1979, Texas became the first state to make Juneteenth an official holiday, and several others followed suit over the years. And in June of last year, Congress passed a resolution establishing Juneteenth as a national holiday. Yes, right? Yeah. Well, it's about time, right? Some changes take a long time. But the changes that you want to make in your own life aren't going to take that long. This is a change for the entire world, right? This is systemic changes that are being made, and they're ongoing, and they will continue to transform and change. And so the invitation for us is to consider the enslaved people and the moment that they found out they were no longer enslaved, but free people. Like, you hear that news, right? And in their celebration, they knew it was something to celebrate probably, but I'm sure they were also very afraid, asking themselves questions like, what does it mean? What will my life be like now? What's going to happen? Should I be afraid? Will I be okay? Will my family be okay? What are the new rules? What are my options? Can I leave? Can I stay? So many questions. And it occurred to me that we might be asking ourselves many of those questions when we are faced with changes in our own lives. So, friends, it took us 155 years to stop using the term master bedroom. I learned about this from Reverend Diane actually a few months ago, and it's so relevant because the use of the term master bedroom had been a topic of discussion in real estate and architectural circles for years and years. In June of 2020, there was a Houston Association of Real Estate, or Realtors became the first industry group to stop using that term, and others located in places like Toronto, Cincinnati, and northern Kentucky followed suit since then. But it's now called the primary or principal bedroom. Once again, it's about time, right? Never even considered it, right? So why was the primary room called the master bedroom? They're saying that they had no malicious intent. There was no intention. There was no discriminatory motivation behind that, right? But the word master is absolutely 100% associated with slavery and evokes images of pre-Civil War plantation life for people. That's the recognition. I just got the God bumps. Because the traditional word of master, right? So it's time to end those things. That's how that goes. Little changes, you know? These little changes that are so important and matter. But the point of that and the spiritual nugget that you can take with you on that today is also that our language matters. Our language matters. Our words actually create worlds. That's why it's so important, that I've been sharing for the past 2 weeks. Stop complaining, stop gossiping, stop being dramatic, because your words are creating worlds. Unless you want to experience more of that, you just got to stop it, right? Because what we want to talk about is we are co-creating with the divine. And so we want to speak about what we want to experience in this life. We are so powerful. Our words create worlds. And so be mindful of the language that you are using to help create the world that you want to experience, whatever it is that's going on in your life. You received a diagnosis. What does feeling healthy and whole feel like, right? What are you going to do in your perfect, vibrant, whole health? Oftentimes we get a diagnosis or we feel sick and we go, oh, I feel so sick, I feel so sick, I feel so sick. This is sick, my knee hurts, whatever it is. But what is it that you would love to experience in the place of that? That's what we want to speak about, because what we think about, we bring about, and what we speak about, we bring about. So be mindful of the words that you use, and as Neville Goddard advises, be mindful of the feeling behind your words, because those are equally important, right? When we speak about what we would love to experience, we want to speak with conviction. We are a thriving spiritual community. Every seat is filled. We are pulling out new chairs. It's wild. We got to have a shuttle to bring people in because they had to park so far away. Right? You get the idea. So all of that is of equal importance. Now, I've been listening to Neville Goddard's book, Jimmy. There's a book called Feeling is the Secret. And it was so timely because he speaks about the masculine and the feminine, and how the conscious is considered the masculine and the subconscious is considered the feminine, and the two together produce a plant, right? And so just like our metaphysical chart, or that what looks like a V, and there's the 3 sections, so you have seed, soil, plant. Ernest Holmes teaches the same exact thing. Seed, soil, plant, masculine, feminine form. And so while Juneteenth is about freedom, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and coming together as one, it's celebrating the liberation from slavery, the power to do as one pleases. How beautiful. The pursuit of well-being, joy, and contentment. There are no more masters and slaves. Full equality, one. So now I'm going to transition into Father's Day, which I sort of started doing that with Neville Goddard and what he shared, right? So today is Father's Day, and it's a day for us to honor our fathers. And as Linda shared in her reading, it's a beautiful opportunity for us to recognize the divine masculine qualities that we all have. So Father's Day is not just for the fathers of people, babies, humans, little humans, but for, you could be fathering plants or pets or whatever it is in your life, right? Now, there are specific qualities that are the divine masculine qualities, right? So all of us have them, like logic, reason, action, firmness, survival, loyalty, adventurousness, rationality, and strength. And so we can balance those, right? Because they become either balanced or imbalanced. And if they get imbalanced, they go too far in one direction. And so to balance them, we can declare and state each one in our own lives. Inhaling, for example, I am strong. And then on your exhale, I am flexible. And then on the inhale, I am balanced. On the exhale, I am strong. On the inhale, I am flexible. On the exhale, I am balanced. And so we can balance ourselves out like that. Now I want to share a few dadisms. So there's dadisms, right? You've all got your dadisms. I have a few. So my dad taught me to be quick-witted, quick on my feet. When I was a little girl, I asked a lot of questions, as little kids do, right? Why? Well, what's that? What's this? Why are we doing it that way? I did that for many years after, too. I was a curious little kid. But I asked a lot of questions. And one time, he called me on it. He said, "Are you writing a book or something?" And I was so devastated by that response. I had nothing to say. It just got me real quiet, right? It worked. And then a couple of days later, I started up again asking questions. And he said, "Are you writing a book?" This time I said, "Yes, I am writing a book." I felt so good about that, right? And then he said, "Well, leave that chapter out." Dang. Quiet again. Okay. Some time passes. Happens again. Questions. He says, "Are you writing a book?" "Yes, I'm writing a book, Dad." "We'll leave that chapter out." And I laughed and I said, "But it's chapter 1. And then he was quiet. Oh, man, my dad. He also taught me to ride a bike. And I remember him walking along with me, you know. I remember when I had the training wheels, and then he took the training wheels off, and he walked along beside me. And we walked, and I was pedaling, and he was guiding me and giving me clear instructions. And I felt so loved, and I was feeling so amazing and powerful and strong. Yes, you know that feeling? And then suddenly, I looked over and he wasn't there, and I was pedaling on my own. And I looked back and I could see him. And I remember that feeling of freedom, that feeling of overflowing joy. And I could see the pride that he had in his own eyes. Oh, so beautiful, yeah? Do you all remember learning to ride a bike? Was it from with your dad? Maybe your mom? So, yeah. So the beauty in that is that was my dad in physical form, but isn't that how spirit is in our lives? Walking beside us, nudging us along, letting go, and looking at us with pride and joy as we shine in the world. So beautiful. He also taught me about setting intention. So in the past, I think I was maybe in my teens, but I would wake up late, as teenagers do, right? I'd be late for things. And he told me one day, he said, "You don't even need an alarm clock. All you have to do is tell yourself the time you need to get up in the morning right before you go to sleep at night, and you will wake up." I thought, man, this man he's out of it. What's he talking about? But I tried it, and it worked. That was my first experience of setting intention, and it worked. How powerful, right? So, what are some of the dadisms that you remember? What are some of the things that your father taught you? Contemplate that, and then I'd love to hear them after the service. So I also want to acknowledge that not everyone had a great relationship with their dad. And I see you. And in that case, I invite you to consider fatherly figures in your own life, or even consider the divine itself, and celebrate them on this day. Celebrate them. So the divine masculine is the activating, choosing part of life. The divine masculine sets things in motion. The divine feminine receives the energy and creates the outcome, the creatrix, right? So the divine masculine is the activating, choosing part of life. It sets things in motion, and the divine feminine receives the energy and creates the outcome. All of us have both of these energies within us. And it's the reciprocal energy of the divine masculine and divine feminine that creates our life experience. What you speak about, you bring about. What you think about, you bring about. What are you creating in your life, you know? So we also all contain the nurturing, creative energy of the mother, and we likewise contain that moving, activating energy of the father, and all of it is necessary. So our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, wrote, "One God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all, it would be impossible to make a clearer statement of truth. One life behind all that lives. One. Never two. The unity of all of life. To learn this is to know a secret of the ages." That's from The Science of Mind, page 493, paragraph 6. To be specific. So, I would like to have us now honor the fathers in our lineage. You know, on Mother's Day, we spoke the names of the fathers in our lives into the room, and I would like to do the same for us. So feel free to name any fathers that come to mind for you, and we can just start that now. I'll name mine: Don Rowley, Travis Hogue, Yes. Spirit, yes. And now I invite you to place your hands over your heart and repeat after me. I love you, Father. I forgive you, Father. Thank you, Father. I am whole, perfect, and complete. I accept myself exactly as I am. All of my needs are met. I am one with my source. And so it is. And now I invite you to call to mind whatever it is you might be fathering right now in your own life. What is it that you are fathering? And it might take a while for that to pop up for you over this next week. As that comes up, know that you are receiving full support from Mother, Father, God in this. Not only in that experience that is up for you right now, but as in all of your endeavors, now and forevermore. So friends, as you go out and celebrate the fathers, grandfathers, and the divine daddy in all, please remember and celebrate not only the freedom that you have, but also the freedom from slavery that our Black brothers and sisters had to fight for. And there is still much work to be done. And remember our agreements: no gossip, no drama, no complaining. Think about, speak about, and shout a thunder of affirmation about what you would love to experience in your life with faith and conviction. Name it and claim it. That is how you activate your divine masculine energy and plant the seed of your desire consciously into the subconscious soil or creative medium, the feminine energy. Stop talking about what you don't want or what you don't like, and start speaking the world of your dreams into existence. Our words create worlds. Yes, You are that powerful. Yes, you are. And so I'm going to wrap it up. I'll call the musicians up now to prepare for our closing song. But in closing, Tuesday, June 21st is the first day of summer, and it's the longest day of the year. The solstice occurs at 2:13 a.m. on Tuesday, and the solstice is a time of warmth and celebration of the return of the light. The longest day, we've got the most light, and it reminds us to turn our attention inward, to find the nourishment that is needed within us, that nourishment that is needed for us to grow and evolve and become more of who we came here to be. And we are called to embrace the electrifying power of the sun and the light within you. This is the midpoint of the year, marking a time of new beginnings, right? So I celebrate the light of consciousness within me, within you, and within all. As I reflect upon the celestial potential for consciousness to awaken for everyone, it fills me with giddy bliss, for I know and believe it's possible, and it's happening right now. So onward we go, raising the vibration, up-leveling consciousness, moving forward, and advancing further into the light. Let's take a deep breath. And join me in turning your attention inward in this moment, returning to that beautiful, expansive space within, which is where the light is. This light within me is spirit, and it is within each and every one of us. There is nowhere that spirit is not. And I'm so grateful in this moment to have this experience of oneness with the divine, remembering that there is only one thing happening here and now. While there is an appearance of different individuals, it's just one thing. And in this one thing, I recognize the love and the beauty and the differences and the uniqueness of all of life, and I embrace every one of them. And I know that each one of us can embrace all. We embrace it all, the shadows and the light. And I'm so grateful for that embracing. I know that as we move forward from here through the rest of our week, we celebrate the freedom of the freedom from slavery. We celebrate the ending of that. We celebrate the changes that are occurring and the ongoing changes that continue. We celebrate and embrace the changes in our own lives in this community, and we celebrate and welcome all that is to be revealed. More is constantly revealed in our lives, and more is constantly revealed in this community, and we are open and welcome it. We welcome the transformation. We welcome these changes with love and appreciation, and know that God loves us exactly as we are. This day is a celebration, and we are each the guest of honor. The divine masculine qualities within us are celebrated as we celebrate the fathers everywhere. So thank you, Spirit, for this beautiful day. I am so grateful, and I know that we are so blessed as we go forward from here. We are shining and standing in the light of love. We are in that vibrational frequency of the higher love. It is done. It is so. I am grateful, and so it is.
I am the son of an incredible father. I am the father of an incredible son, and I am the blessed grandfather of a great, wonderful grandson. From where he stood, that little guy, the net seemed higher than the sky, and the backboard so incredibly tall. I watched him try to shoot that ball, And the first time that he made it, he was so very proud. He was the star, and I was the crowd. That's how it was, father and son, spending time one-on-one. In winter time, we'd play at night, there in the full moonlight, playing 'cause we loved to play. It was a chance to catch up on each other's day. It was a fake, the drive, and the sudden spin, the impossible shot, and the young boy's grin. That's how it was for father and son, spending time one-on-one. Dribbling and driving, shooting and diving, my, how it all speeds by. Once I was tall, and once he was small, and now suddenly he looks me in the eye. That's how it is for father and son, spending time one-on-one. Now he's grown up too soon, and the hoop's much lower than the moon. The boy has now become a man. I miss it, and yet I understand that as time goes by, you can bet that that rusty old rim and that tattered net will be ready and waiting beneath the basketball sky for that someday when my son drops by. That's how it is for father and son, spending time one